problem with. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage. A joke. Clown X. Pisses me off. No. Come find me. No. Come find me. Listen to the words. Come find me. Garbage. A joke. Clown X. Pisses me off.
I ain't a hard guy to find. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage. A joke. Clown X. Pisses me off. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about, like this one right here. Headline, big bold letters across your newspaper that you no longer read. Quote, CFP committee and decision makers around college football get away with billion-dollar scam in the name of parity. That's what happened today. The news today of a college football expansion to 12, right? Going to a 12-team college football playoff beginning in 2024, not 2026. They told all Power Fives, get that alignment crap figured out because we got to go with this expansion ASAP. Okay. The people that capitalize most on the sport that all you guys love, okay, just slipped one in on you, selling you some false hope for a 12 seed. That's what that was today. They got their billion-dollar TV contract. They diminished the regular season for a lot of people and a lot of teams, okay, the elite of elites in college football for the sake of maybe potentially a 12 seed down the road, maybe potentially winning 3 games as maybe potentially a double-digit underdog in said football games. So, great. We get parity in college football, whatever that means. But did today's 12-team playoff solve any issues or problems that there are in college football? First of all, I don't think there are many. They're damn sure not revolved around the playoff, situation currently in the environment of college football. Okay, did today's expansion solve any problems? No, it brought some more money. That's great. But this doesn't mean suddenly that UCF can win a real national title. Like that's not what this means. They have less of a probability today than they even did years past. Years past, they had to have a good or decent out-of-conference schedule, go undefeated, win 1 game. That's all they had to do. Now, they got to go win 3 of them jokers. Do they get a seat at the table? Awesome. That's great, right? But this doesn't do anything other than make sure that Utah, maybe, as a 3-loss Utah team, can get into now a college football playoff, and they're one 3-game heater away from being crowned the champion of college football for that year, right? And that's awesome, okay? That's awesome, and that would be a great story. No different than Tulane somehow overcoming 3 just unprecedented underdog stories in a row, okay? This isn't 16 seed beating 1 seed. This is 16 seed beating 1 seed going on to win the tourney. Like, upsets are awesome. That's great. It's a great story, but it's not a college football story. Upsets in the playoff, a team getting hot late, those aren't college football stories. Those are NFL stories. Those are different leagues. That's not this college football. That's not the college football that I signed up for. I mean, that's fine, right? Will the new playoff have upsets? Yes, 100%. Will the new college football playoff be fun to watch? 100%. Will I be watching every single second of it until there is a double-digit lead? 100%. But will the double-digit 2-score leads happen really, really quickly? 100%. 3-score leads are a lot, really, really fast, right? Look, my college football, the college football that I love, right? The college football that you guys love, my college football requires you to survive 2 Jake Fromm interceptions at home against South Carolina in 2019. If you can't do it, that's not your year. You got to wait another one. You got to be damn near perfect, okay? That's what this is. That's what college football is, right? My college football requires Ohio State to show up in the 1 damn game on their schedule. They got 1 game, Michigan. It requires them to show up and win that football game. And if they don't, they get to go play in a bowl game that's after New Year's Day, and it means something, and it's cool, and it's nice. You get a nice swag bag. But this idea that they don't have to now show up at all for 12 weeks, and then they could just get to gear up for a college football playoff run because they're Ohio State, you just handed them that. That's what you just did with this expansion. Georgia will never miss this college football playoff under Kirby Smart. If they do, clip me. That's fine. Clip this segment. Georgia's walking into December and January from now on. And that's fine. That's great. It's great for ratings. It's awesome. But it also means that those 12 games don't mean as much, right? The 45-42 win at Alabama against Tennessee against Alabama, that game that sent them to the number one ranking, and then next week losing to Georgia, and that swing, that super, super high, that 20-year supernova of a wave of confidence to that pitfall of, damn, now we got to hope other teams lose. And then the next week, South Carolina beats your brains in anyway, so it doesn't matter. That crash, that parity, that high and low, that roller coaster effect that we love about college football. And I can give you a million examples of this. Those don't happen anymore. Tennessee's still in after getting beat by 28 points or however many it was, giving up 63 points to South Carolina. So, yeah, awesome. We created parity, right? How? I don't know. It doesn't create parity to me. You want to create parity in this sport, right? That's what everyone tells me. The NFL is great and the ratings are so high because any given Sunday, right? All that stuff. And that's awesome. And if you want parity in college football, there's a way to do it. And I will provide it to you right now. But I guarantee you the people that made the decision to expand to 12 today, they will not be up for what I'm about to suggest that will actually create a level playing field in college football. Do you want it? Here's the answer. Take that $1 billion contract that you're about to get from these multiple TV contract deals for this new 12-team college football playoff and give a portion of that revenue split to actual football players. Give the Power Five the ability to share a portion of the revenue splits. Make it a salary cap. Make it nice and fair. Not doing what you're doing now, which is, hey, however much money you can give guys in NIL, that's fine. We don't care. You want to create a level playing field. That's what y'all tell me this was for. This doesn't do none of that. The 5 stars ain't going to anywhere but where they're going now, right? NIL created a level of parity in this, right? But we see how those things kind of last, right? I think we've seen the experiment of NIL at Texas A&M to the extreme. Now, is there some schools that are doing it well and doing it to a point to where they can get competitive really, really quickly? Tennessee? Yeah, there are schools like that. But it would really be even if Mississippi State's payroll looked identical to Georgia's. Then Georgia might not be able to go into Mississippi and pull out Nakobe Dean. You follow me? That will create parity in college football. Not going to 12. You think all of a sudden the kids in Louisville are going to stick around at Tulane, or in Louisiana are going to stick around at Tulane? No, it's not how that works. In that area of the country? No, they're going where the biggest shine or the biggest light is shined, and financial value as well in that decision. So, I mean, long story short, I can bitch and moan about this decision all day. It doesn't matter. But I think a lot of people that are in my mentions talking about, oh, it's great. This is going to create parity. This gives the little guy a chance. No, it does not. It made it harder. Again, it made it harder. Since he had a shot, since he had to win 2 football games last year after going through their schedule, okay? And if a non-Power 5 this year was worth the salt, if Tulane didn't have 2 losses right now, they would probably have a shot this year. And guess what? Go win 2 football games. Now they got to win, 4 in that new expanded college football playoff. So this didn't help the little guy. Yeah, it's a lot more money that's going to get spread across a lot more platforms in terms of revenue splits to the schools. But this ain't keeping in-state kids in state. This ain't keeping Georgia from going down into South Florida when Miami's dog water and picking players. Same thing with Alabama. It ain't gonna stop that neither. Okay. The only thing that would stop that is to give everyone the equal amount of resources, or give them access to the equal amount of resources with regards to player acquisition, because that's what this sport is. You get good players, you get good results. Okay. If you don't got Jimmys and Joes, I don't care how good your X's and O's are. That's football. And until those things are leveled, until Georgia stops having, I think Georgia and Alabama have, I would say, like 40%, like it seems like 40% of the last 3 classes worth of 5 stars, because there's only 32 of them, and Georgia and Alabama seem to sign 4 or 5 of them every single class. Collection of talent, right? It's in one small place. You want parity in the sport, spread that out. Expanded to the 12 didn't do nothing about that. Welcome in. The last time we did MBR, I thought we were going to set a lifetime record for opening rant. That's a new one. I think that's 10 and a half minutes of me just trying to throw a flamethrower to this whole idea and restructuring of the sport that I love. Now, again, our ratings going to be awesome. Yeah, they're going to be great, right? Our page views for businesses like mine going to increase during the months of December and January. Yeah, but I think my business just took a hit in September. I mean, not that you guys care about me, but I'm just telling you, the way of the world. I think you guys are going to care less moving forward. You are going to care less about games in September, October, and November because of today's news. Just letting you know. And you might say, no, I don't. I care because it's still Georgia and Tennessee. I'm calling bullshit. You cared and you were puckered up because you knew Georgia and Tennessee was college football playoff ticket stamped on the line. And it ain't no more. And that's okay. Right. And under the BCS model, you really had to be perfect. Right. Y'all were nervous every single week. That's so awesome. Like that's why y'all are addicted to this drug, man. Because y'all are fiending. Y'all are fiending to stay perfect every single week. And that's okay. And then some people will say, well, it doesn't matter because people turn the TVs off once they lose under the current model. That's a decent statement, 100%. I like it the way it is. I'm sorry. Welcome in, loaded show. I'm going to preview the LSU Georgia SEC championship game. I'm going to get clipped so hard if Georgia doesn't perform like they're supposed to because, guys, I wrote the show notes today after watching film for multiple hours last couple days. And when I was writing the show notes, I had a really, really strong opinion. And when I have strong opinions, if I feel for sure about them, if I'm 100% with them, I bring them to you and I don't back off of them. So get prepared. Your boy might be going viral in a bad way if Georgia doesn't handle business because, yeah, we finna do one of them segments at the end of tonight's show. Yeah, going to preview this SEC championship game, and we're going to break down what I think are the 3 keys to a deep, successful college football playoff run. But first, okay, I want to give it a little bit of love to the folks around the platform, those in which that support us. I want to give a shout out to Gramco, our premier sponsor over here on the bottom right-hand corner. Hey, Street's been talking. Y'all ain't been supporting quite enough, and it's probably my fault. I will take credit for that or blame for that, rather. I will be the quarterback that takes the arrow for everybody. It's all my fault. I'm the leader of the offense. We should be executing better. Gramco.com, thegramco.com, promo code Brooks25. If you're into Delta 8 CBD, they have CBD ointment, guys. Rub on sticks of oil or the CBD oil. So, like, if you're a guy with joint pain, right now, my left heel is killing me. Okay, absolutely blowing me up. I'm going to go after the show, try the CBD oil. I haven't tried it in a while, and I'm going to see if it works on my tendons because they're killing me right now. So whatever it is, if you got Wake and Bake coffee, they got all that good stuff. If you're just into Delta 8 gummies to cool down after a long day of work, they got you over there as well. Thegramco.com, promo code Brooks25, get you 25% off today. I also want to give a shout out to our Patreon family. Those guys and gals, we don't have too many gals, but there's a couple in there. Those folks have been showing up in droves to film study. We actually hit a threshold last night of a maximum limit of viewers. So we watched an hour last night of LSU's offense. We're going to give you the notes here in a second. And we watched an hour of LSU's defense the night before. It's really, really valuable stuff. It's good educational football talk. So if that's something you're into, if you want to learn what quarterbacks have to think about in pre-snap, if you want to learn why a running back's going a certain hole and why they're not keeping things front side, if you want to learn why the person next to you on Saturday bitching about something the offensive coordinator did is just a flat dumb idiot, come on, we'll teach you all that good stuff. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Just trying to make you a little bit smarter of a football fan over there. Let's talk about this LSU matchup, man. Let's get into it. Okay, I told you we're gonna get clipped if y'all don't handle y'all business. So go handle your business. Let's talk about it. This line in Vegas, 17.5 points. That told me they'd be grinding some tape. All right. I know you see 17.5 points. And I mean, even when it opened at 16 before the kind of horrendous loss to Texas A&M, I thought, wow, more than two touchdowns and a field goal in a conference championship game, like that's a lot. That's a lot of points. What does Vegas know when I first saw the line? And then I went and watched that tape. Maybe you're one of these people that looked at that line and said, "Man, this game's going to be closer than that." This is an SEC championship game. LSU is a good football team. They beat Bama. They did all these things. They're an SEC Western champ. They're a good football team. Let me tell you what I've learned in the last 2 days. Look, I didn't go 12 games deep on these guys. I went most recent good stuff that I could find. Good footage that I could find against an opponent that simulates something that Georgia does both offensively and defensively for the most part in terms of personnel matching and how they just schematically line up and attack football and play football, right? Which is always Bama, okay? And here's what I learned. It's damn near a miracle that LSU's even gotten here. I mean, it really is. They are a flawed football team. Here's the deal. They have no running game apart from Jaden Daniels scrambling, okay? We watched 17 plays last night, 17 plays to start that football game. They were in empty 14 of those times. They dropped back in a conventional pass, okay, 15 of those times. They did not throw all 15 of those balls. In fact, half of them, the only run plays on the drives that we watched last night, were Jaden Daniels running for his life out of empty. Okay. So not a lot. Oh, also, by the way, in that 17 plays, of those 14 designed drop back passes, not one ball covered more air yards than 10 yards. Everything was underneath. It was downset hut, get it out of your hand, downset hut, run. Okay. They are offensively very, very one-dimensional. You don't even have to box score scout them to do that. Okay. But you can. Go look at stats reference. Look at it. See what pops off the screen. The fact that the quarterback's by far the leading rusher on this football team. By far. Because that's the offense. Just see if 5 can somehow magically progress the football down the field. And for the most part, that dude's done it. So hats off to him. They also have 2 freshmen starting at at tackle. Both right tackle and left tackle. And here's the deal. I think they're going to be really, really good football players. I do. But they are dog food right now, okay? It was sharks in the water watching, and I know Dallas Turner and Will Anderson are far superior edge rushers to anything Georgia has, so don't come at me with that. I understand that. But these are 2 true freshmen, and they play like true freshmen. They fight, they scrap, they get after it. But they freshmen, all right? And yeah, they're 12 games in, but they are freshmen. The Harold Perkins guy, I love him. He's a Sunday guy, going to play for a long, long time. Probably the closest thing since Kentucky's Josh Allen that we have, okay? Except Josh Allen was 6'5". This guy's 6'2", 220 pounds. And though he is their most terrifying playmaker, though he is their best pass rusher, though he has the most likelihood to get home and most likelihood to dislodge the football and the most likelihood to get Stetson Bennett down, he is 6'2", 220 pounds. And the only way they have managed to keep him on the field and allow him to impact the football game is to essentially play him as a jack at 6'2", 220 pounds. So the freshman is having to stand outside the tackle, like right outside the right tackle and the left tackle, and watch them run the football at him. You want to know why? I don't even have to go back and watch all 4 quarters. You know why H-Chain and that group ran for 280 yards or whatever it was? It ain't just them. That's why. All but 3 games on their schedule this year, they have allowed more than 100 yards. They've given up over 200 3 times, over 250 last week. Okay? They are having to do things schematically to be, passable as a passable grade against the quarterback and against the pass, right? Lightening their personnel package, putting Perkins down closer to the line of scrimmage, allowing him to rush, not really playing like a traditional linebacker, right? They're trying to basically play him, again, like a Micah Parsons does for the Dallas Cowboys. The only problem is they are very, very light up front. Very, very light up front. Their starting defensive tackle, 6 foot tall, 290 pounds. He's a fire plug, good football player. This is not an SEC West champion, guys. This is the last walking zombie out of an SEC West that just must not have been very good this year. Okay. I'm not here to get clipped. Okay. I know LSU fans will find this, but this is, again, I think it's a miracle, a coaching miracle that they got here. They're a flawed football team with 2 freshman tackles. They can't run the football. The quarterback is basically the leading rusher and a full-time scrambler. Defensively, they can't stop the run. That's like the number one thing you have to do in this conference to play good football. And somehow they're the walking zombie coming out of the SEC West. So, dadgum, hats off to them, but 17.5-point spread is 100% correct. Georgia should be able to get pressure and should be able to contain Jaden Daniels on Saturday. They should be able to make an already one-dimensional LSU continue to do so. Okay, they should be able to rush for over 250 yards on offense. This game should be won 34-10, and you should just leave your bags inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium because you'll be back in a month. That's what should happen on Saturday. That's what the film says. Okay, LSU, again, hats off. They got here. That is a miraculous turnaround of a season and an incredible coaching job to even get them to this point with all the holes in this football team. They cleaned up such a mess coming from Orgeron. They're just not there yet. It's just not quite there to battle a football team that is not going to come out flat. This isn't Georgia playing Georgia Tech. This isn't Georgia going on the road and having to stay in a hotel in Missouri for the whole noon slate and the whole 3:30 slate almost, and then playing a 5 o'clock local kick in Missouri or whatever the hell that game was. Okay, this is not that situation. It is an SEC championship game with business on the line. That's what this is. So that being said, there it is, 34-10. Georgia should steamroll this football team offensively. They should be able to run counter 25 times for 200 yards on Saturday. That's what it should be, okay? That's what the film says. And if they don't, they don't. College football happened. Come at me. But again, I wasn't going to back off of that one. I felt in my heart of hearts, you guys watched it in Patreon last night. I felt my heart of hearts watching that there was, just way too many holes to think that you're going to win a game of this magnitude, okay? And that's why you see in such an up and down performance from LSU, right? It's why you see them come out, and I think they were down 21 points or whatever it was to Auburn on the road, right? It's why you see them have really, really bad spurts of football. Tennessee thumping that butt to start the football game at home. They are a flawed football team. Georgia is not. Georgia has, I think, one flaw. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, and everybody's already talked about beat it like a dead horse. So yeah, shouts out, man. I don't think I've taken a breath in 23 minutes of tonight's show. Shouts out to the Mio Fruit Punch. Ooh, it's that good stuff. Man, great time to be alive. Great time to be covering the University of Georgia. Great time to be covering college football. Wherever you are. Daggone, my buddy Evan Crowell is flat out crushing it over there in South Carolina beat. Shouts out Shane Beams. Yeah, great time to be covering college football everywhere you are. So appreciate it, man. Absolutely appreciate the ability to do my job. I think I saw someone in the comments, Uncle Chuck, say he loves his job. I love my job. In fact, I tell people all the time, not to brag, but it just doesn't feel like a job. Granted, I work my ass off. I like to be the hardest worker in the room. I'm never going to be the smartest. I'm a dum-dum. You guys know that. But I try to be the hardest worker in the room, even though this doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm just passing time. Passing time in a great way. Appreciate you guys being here. Hit that thumbs up button while you are here. Choosing to spend your Thursday nights on this platform typically means we're watching film. Tonight, we're not. The reason being, we watched so much the last 2 days over on Patreon. Quite honestly, I reached my point. I'd reached my point of watching, again, they were trying to survive a 13-game slate, and they're here in the SEC championship game. Shouts out Brian Kelly. God dang, I didn't think I was ever going to say those words. I got to contemplate my life decisions. Keys to a successful playoff run for the University of Georgia. Number one, let's start with this. It's easy, right? It's the one that everybody should be leading with, talking about this football team. And it's not the receivers. It's the fact that this football team has to, and I mean has to, avoid whatever that spell was in that 3 or 4 games where they were just a damn turnover machine, a turnover machine offensively, or a slow starting football team. Okay. I know, again, everyone wants to start this list or whatever list you have of concerns, criticisms of Georgia's roster, whatever, football team. The list from every talking head ever starts with the receivers, and that's fine. But I don't think that's the main problem. I don't think that's going to sneak up and bite you in the ass in the middle of a 3-game run right here between the SEC championship game and a national title. Georgia has moved the football better or relatively as good as anybody in college football. I looked it up today. Despite the last 3 games, they are still 4th in the country in yards per play. They're averaging almost 6.9 yards per attempt. They snap it, they get almost 7 yards. Okay. That's elite, efficient offensive football. But they have a tendency to put it on the turf. We know that. They absolutely have a tendency to put the ball on the turf. And through, what do we got? We got 836 career attempts for Stetson Bennett. We also know he's shown a tendency to have a stretch of turnover-worthy play. So that would scare me the most. You pile up 3 turnovers in a football game, you're going home. You're going home. And you're going to be mad that you missed out on a repeat, because you should repeat. You are better, I think, on paper and through 13 games than anybody in college football. I have fewer questions about your football team than anybody else in the sport through 13 weeks. You should win a national title, okay? Last year, there was questions. There was doubts, right? Can you get over the Bama hurdle? Can you beat Bama twice? If you have to. Can you? Now you know. Now you have proof of concept. You should feel confident going into this stretch. But if you have a bad game where you turn the football over multiple times in multiple possessions like you did against Missouri, that's troublesome. As are slow starts. I don't think it's breaking news here on this platform to tell you that you've had a tendency to kind of putter coming out of the start. Coming out of the first quarter, first half, you have a tendency to slow start. Now, it's a combination of things. I like a lot of people blame it on the whole offense. They'll say, offense slow start, blah, blah, blah. They'll do that. Your slow start against Tech was on that defense, giving up 11-play, 77-yard drive to start the football game. You getting cakewalked by the Yellow Techs, by the buzz. You get walked down the field to start the football game. That ain't on the offense. The 3 and out to start the football game the first time they got it was on the offense. Okay. But the same kind of thing happened against Missouri. It's like, oh, damn, we busted coverages. We let guys slip all of a sudden on scramble drills. Oh, damn, 80-yard, 68-yard run. Malachi Starks make a play. Oh, snap, ball on the turf twice. Oh, damn, Missouri's punching us in the mouth. Those kind of things, I don't know if slow starts are an issue. I don't think they really were against we could talk about Georgia Tech. The first one was the problem on the defense, I think, giving up way too much time of possession, okay, to an offense in Georgia Tech who's just, man, they must have dialed up all 11 plays in that script coming into that week. They're like, this first drive got to last 7 minutes, coach, or else you ain't getting that job, interim coach. We got to milk this puppy. And they did. 4 possessions first half. You had 3 possessions in the first half against Kentucky the week before. Slow starts, I don't know. The problem was you weren't possessing the football. You're a possession football team. That's who you are. And if you ain't possessing the football, that's a problem. Okay, so that can't be something that goes on in the playoff. But to that point, there ain't a single matchup, I don't believe, except for Michigan, on the slate where someone can do that to you. USC ain't going to take the air out the rock. Are you kidding me? That ain't happening. TCU ain't going to lean on you. That ain't happening. Not from no Big 12 team. They're going to spread out and QB run. That ain't two tight ends playing down to the 5 seconds on the play clock offense. That's what y'all faced the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, y'all faced, good God, coach, can we keep this under 40? Please. Can we do that? Y'all ain't going to face that moving forward. So possessing the football shouldn't be a problem. you should be able to avoid slow starts because you're going to get shots at it, right? Get cracks at it offensively. The turnovers terrify me. If I were a Georgia fan, they would terrify me. Especially once the first one happens, because sometimes, at least with this football team, they happen in bunches this week or this year. They either don't turn it over or they turn it over twice. Just something to watch, no doubt. Oh, I needed that one. Woo! I needed that one, baby. Number 2 key to an extended playoff run, repeat, if you will, a potential 3-peat, if you will. Number 2 key has to be how healthy can AD Mitchell get over the next month, right? I don't expect, I'm not breaking any news here. I don't expect him to come out and be AD Mitchell of old tomorrow or Saturday. If he plays, great. I mean, he dressed last week. That was a great sign. It was a good indicator. Warm-ups looked relatively good. Okay, he was high point footballs, was not afraid to jump and land. That makes me feel great. But it wasn't like I was watching the guy run double moves out there with coverage. Okay, he was running routes on air and kind of pretty much running in a straight line. That's all they really do. Pack and go is basically all they do in warm-ups. So it wasn't like he was really getting a full sweat in front of us, if that makes sense. But the fact that he was there, that's great. But I need to see like multiple catches tomorrow to even feel good about whatever's about to happen over the next month. All right. It's been 11 weeks, I think, since Sanford. It's been a long time. All right. I know he tweaked it. I know he wasn't up for the Tua surgery where they fix the high ankle sprain like superhuman and make it all brand new and pretty and shiny and get you back out on the field. I know he wasn't a candidate for that, but we've been 11 weeks into a high ankle sprain. How good can AD Mitchell be come January 1st or New Year's Eve, whenever that football game is in that first round of the college football playoff? That's important. Okay. And look, I'm not saying this is number 2 on the list because I don't think this is a prerequisite to winning a national title. I don't think this has to happen. I think you're a good enough football team offensively to win a national title without AD Mitchell on the field at 100%. I do. Because your coordinator's that good and your quarterback has processed zone good enough. Here's a key for you guys. Watch third and longs. I know your football team is not comfortable with what they have currently at receiver because you can watch them on third and long. Every single time they are in 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 7 plus. Class, what will you see them do? They will bunch tighter than, two folk or a group of offensive linemen at winter football practice trying to stay warm. They are bunched tight as can be. Trips bunch, twins bunch, bunch. Every single time they get into 3rd and long. Why is that? Well, if I bunch, you can't play man. It's impossible. You cannot. In today's concepts, how offensive football is ran, if I get into a bunch formation, you can't play man coverage. You can zone match out of it, but you have to sort out the trash from space and then pick your guy and stick on him. That gives me a real long opportunity to create some hidden value for guys like Brock Bowers, our only tight end who really can win one-on-ones whenever we need him to as an offensive staff. That's why y'all do that, okay? So until you see 3rd and 7, 3-by-1, X receiver over here, and they draw up a play for that guy to win, and he goes and wins, you are not a complete offense because that sometimes is what football boils down to. Sometimes, a lot of times, in really, really good football games and really, really highly contested football games, it comes down to 2nd and 16, downset hut, front side defensive end jumps off sides. Now we got a one-on-one shot, and we got to go to our X receiver because he's our guy. National title in the bag. Thank you, Keeley, for giving us some insurance. You got to have it. Great offenses have it. But I think, again, your coordinator is really, really special. He's been hiding these things all year. Again, you've been moving the football as well as anybody else. You haven't scored it in the red zone at an extremely efficient rate, but that's okay because your defense is really, really good. So, yeah, how healthy can he get? And number 3, and perhaps my favorite, and we'll end on this tonight, perhaps my favorite kind of key to this repeat opportunity for Georgia. And it's my favorite because I hope it happens because I hope we get to watch it. Because if we don't get to watch it these next 3 games, we're going to have to watch it on Sundays. And that's Supernova Carter. Okay? I promise you, there's something in me that tells me he's still got like 10%. Okay. And if you've ever been around like superhuman great football players or great athletes in general, that moment that game kind of means more, right? The moment it's like the lights literally get brighter. Not to avoid cliches, but the best football players somehow, some way become even better football players. And I've seen this in Jalen's game, like since his freshman year, definitely this year, with him being banged up and with the knee not being great, right? He's kind of like flip switch on and off. I'm not saying he's loafing, don't get me wrong. But when it's 3rd and 6 or 3rd and whatever, and the ball's on the 2, and it's like, hey, dude, if I get a strip sack like right now, we might get a touchdown. Let me abuse this right guard right quick. Throw something on him that I ain't throwing all year and just put him on his face. Watch this. Supernova. When the games mean something, this dude, I got a feeling 88 is going to play. I still think there's like a different level. There's like one more notch. Okay. And again, if you've been around great football players or great athletes in general, 99.9% of them in the biggest of moments, they just play better. They just find a new one. They look like a different guy. I think Bowers was a prime example of this last year. Bowers turned into a damn dude. He was a dude coming into the season, right? I mean, we kind of knew like UAB was like, oh, wow, he's fast. But it was the Tech game where it was like, oh, shit, we need to make this guy our offense, right? He has now asserted himself to the point where he's about to take this thing over. 88 can and probably will do that over the next 3 games. For the Film Guy fam, for YouTube, for the Graham Co, for patreon.com/Brooks Austin, for your, I was going to say your Georgia Bulldogs, but they don't need my love. Y'all give them enough anyways. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I appreciate y'all being here for real. It's been a great week of content. I'm taking tomorrow off because there are 2 extremely, extremely good football games. If you're in the Atlanta area, go to Lakewood Stadium tomorrow, starting at 5 o'clock. Milton plays Mill Creek, okay? That is 5 stars galore, all right? That will be Caleb Downs, Alabama commit. That's Bryce Thornton, Florida commit. That's Luke Nickel, just picked up an offer from Ole Miss at quarterback. That's DeBron Gatling from Milton, has offers all over the Power 5. There are dudes on that football field at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then after that, Langston Hughes plays Rome, okay? 2 really, really good football players in that matchup that I'm extremely excited to watch face off to some extent. Bo Hewley and Stephon Green. One committed to Georgia, obviously Bo Hewley. One committed to Clemson and Stephon Green. Great, great, premier high school football. And the GHSA has allowed you to watch both of them suckers back to back, smack to smack. And your boy going to be on the sideline taking them flicks. So come holler at me. We'll see you in Monday, or we will see you in Atlanta as well Saturday at the SEC Championship game. If you see me, say what's up. I will be at 680 The Fans pregame tailgate. I'll be on the air from, I think, 1 to 2 before I walk to the stadium. So that's where I'll be over the next 2 days. Hope to see you guys. Good luck to your Georgia Bulldogs. They're in a college football playoff anyways, as they will be for the remainder of Kirby Smart's lifetime contract. Because shouts out to the college football playoff, making sure I'm covering Georgia football until January for Life's on End. Because they damn sure ain't getting ranked outside that top 12. How about them? We'll see you later.